What is up, guys? Soon as Savage back today, we are here with Taysom Hill and Michael Vick predictions. And what does that and this week in football have in common? Well, they're all number 7. It's week 7. Taysom Hill was number 7. So was Michael Vick. Only a few of you might get that reference, but anyways, I'm actually getting out of fingers to run. I'm running out of fingers to hold up because I can probably go about 10. Then probably have to do like 10, 11. Anyways, enough about that. We are coming here with my predictions live, and there will be an announcement that I will be making mid-video, so make sure you watch to check it out. But without further ado, Week 7 predictions need to be made, so let's get it started right now. Alright guys, so we're starting out with our Thursday night football matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. The Kansas City Chiefs came off a 31-24 loss against the Texans, and the Broncos came off a 16-0 victory over the Titans. So starting off with the Chiefs, they played all right. They played a good game. Patrick Mahomes, 273 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. They barely cracked 50 rushing yards, but they did get an old friend back in Tyreek Hill as he ended up with 5 receptions, 80 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He played a very good game. If there's anything that was a problem, it was the defense, allowing over nearly 200 rushing yards and almost 300 passing yards. Neither defense played well in this game, but the Texans D played slightly better, and that's why the Chiefs lost. And then the Broncos, well, you face the Titans, and my problem with the Titans is I can't get a grasp on them. I mean, you did make them switch from Mariota to Tannehill. You guys kept Derrick Henry to only 28 yards on the ground. Their defense played a very good game. Joe Flacco, not really. 177 yards and a touchdown. Phillip Lindsay, 70 rushing yards and a touchdown. Cortland Sutton, and that was about it. This game was a complete defensive slugfest, but of course it was the Broncos that ended out on top. So here we go. If I got to pick a winner of this game, I'm taking in offense. I think the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes will finally break this 0-2 slump by the Chiefs and come back and win this game. And now we move on to our very next match between the Oakland Raiders and the Green Bay Packers. With the Raiders, they had their bye, but their last victory was against the Bears as they won 24-21, and the Packers barely escaped Lambeau Field with a 23-22 victory over the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Primetime. So let's start off with the Raiders. They were on their bye week last week, and to say the least, they played a very good game against the Bears. It's tough to go up against one of the best defenses in the league. Derek Carr, he threw 229 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, but Josh Jacobs ran for 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, it was all Derrick Henry. All Josh Jacobs. Chase Daniel was terrible. 231 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. He played a terrible game. The offense didn't get anything going until the third quarter when they made their comeback, but of course Joshua Jacobs just ended them. And then you have the Packers, who were incredibly lucky. The main reason they won was because of 2 lucky calls for illegal hands to the face on Trey Flowers for the Lions. But anyways, aside from that, Aaron Rodgers threw for 283 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Jamal Williams did all the rushing for 104 yards. Aaron Jones, 47 yards and a fumble, which didn't help. Rodgers, the 1 pick was mainly because his wide receiver couldn't catch, and it went to the Lions. You guys stopped the Lions. And, of course, you guys got super lucky with those 2 calls on hands to the face by Trey Flowers. That game was very close, but, of course, Mason Crosby booted the game-winning field goal. He finally broke his slump against the Detroit Lions. So if I got to pick a winner for this game, I'm going to go with the Packers. They're going to win. And now we move on to our very next matchup between the LA Rams and the Atlanta Falcons. The LA Rams came off a 20-7 loss against the 49ers, and the Falcons came off a 34-33 loss against the Cardinals. Jeez, it's so cold in here. Anyways, moving on to the Rams, what the hell happened? So San Francisco facing the Rams to me was their big test. I know they were 4-0, but could they beat a legitimate contender? They did. Their defense completely stuffed the Rams, nearly kept them to nearly under 200 yards, which was very, very good. Only allowed 7 points. Jared Goff threw for 78 yards. Their rushing game, they were without Todd Gurley, so they couldn't get anything going. But receiving game, you didn't get much going because Goff was absolutely terrible. And then you have, their biggest thing that they did this week was that they traded for Jalen Ramsey a 2020 and 2021 first-round picks. They don't have their next 2 first-round picks, and they also traded around next year's 4th-rounder. That was a very bold move, but they need that as they also dished off Marcus Peters. And then you move on to the Falcons. What has happened? Like, your defense is literally a turning style. Matt Ryan was as good as ever, 30 for 36, 356 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Devontae Freeman, he may have only got 88 rushing yards, but he finally cracked 100 scrimmage yards, 2 touchdowns. Austin Hooper, Julio Jones combined for over 200 reception yards. Very good game played on offense. Defense, not as much. You got picked apart by Kyler Murray, the midget. But what really cost you was Matty Ice. Not Matt Ryan, Matt Bryant, the kicker, as he missed an extra point so the Falcons, they scored a touchdown with about a minute to go. They were down by 1, and then the other Matty Ice missed the kick. He missed the extra point, and of course the Falcons lost. So if I got to pick one of this one, it's going to be the Rams. They got a bit of a better secondary, and the Falcons, dude, you guys are literally a turning style in terms of your defense. And now you have our very next matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the Washington Redskins. No competition at all. The 49ers won 20-7 over the Rams, and the Redskins won their first game of the season, winning 70-16 over the Dolphins. Now, starting off, the 49ers, I doubted you being undefeated, thinking that it was a cakewalk schedule. And for the first 4 games, it wasn't very challenging. But you guys stuffed one of the best offenses in the league. Very good game. You guys got a running back by committee. Jimmy Garoppolo only threw for 243 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. Jimmy G's okay. George Kittle thrashed all over that secondary. And you guys, of course, held Jared Goff to only 78 yards. You guys kept them to under 200 offensive yards. I am very impressed with that showing. Shows what you can do. And then you have the Redskins. You finally won a game, but it's against the goddamn Dolphins. That is absolutely no accomplishment. Case Keenum threw 166 yards, 2 touchdowns. Adrian Peterson actually broke out and had 118 rushing yards against that defense. That's about it. Receiving game, Terry McLaurin, very good. He's on one of my fantasy teams, and I do enjoy having him. Good receiver. Of course, Josh Rosen. No, this is all about the Redskins, but you stopped the Dolphins. That's absolutely no accomplishment. You almost lost the game. They failed their 2-point conversion. But you guys win, and my pick for this week is easily the 49ers. And now you have our very next matchup between the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts. The Texans came off a 31-24 victory over the Chiefs, and the Colts just came off their bye week as they also beat the Chiefs 19-13. So honestly, even though the Colts are the home team, I'm going to start with them just because they were on their bye last week. Anyways, the Colts impressed me. You stopped maybe the greatest offense in the league. Jacoby Brissett, he threw for 151 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. Marlon Mack ran for 132 yards. You guys didn't do too much on offense, but your defense is where you really thrived. Even though Patrick Mahomes was playing with an injury, you guys held them in only 13 points. I was very impressed to see what you guys did against those guys. And then you have the Houston Texans, they also beat the Chiefs, but this time they did it with a little bit more emphasis on their offense. Their offense has been thriving as, Deshaun Watson, he played a decent game, had 3 total touchdowns, 280 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, but he also followed that up with 42 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Carlos Hyde ran for 116 yards. DeAndre Hopkins hasn't really needed to do too much this season. He's had 9 receptions, 55 yards. He has been very, very limited this season, which really sucks for him. And if I'm going to get a winner for this one, I'm going to say it's going to be the Texans. And now we move on to the Minnesota Vikings versus the Detroit Lions. The Vikings came off a 38-20 victory over the Eagles, and the Lions came so close, but fell to the Packers 23-22. Anyway, starting off with the Vikings, wow. You guys put on a show. Kirk Cousins threw 333 yards, 4 touchdowns and a pick. Dalvin Cook only got 41 rushing yards, but your big man, Stephon Diggs, 7 receptions, 167 yards and 3 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs was absolutely on fire, but you can also thank a weak Eagles secondary. I mean, honestly, a very good gameplay, though. You know, Kirk Cousins played well, the defense did what they needed to do, but Stephon Diggs finally took that leap. He wanted off the team. He was showing very little progress, but now he has come back a little bit. Does it last? I don't know. And then you move on to the Detroit Lions. You guys got screwed over again by the refs. I don't know what number this is. I mean, with the 2 hands-to-the-face penalties on Trey Flowers. Starting off, Matthew Stafford, 265 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Kerryon Johnson only got 34 rushing yards. I mean, your big highlight of the game was a flea flicker to start. But Kenny Golladay did have 5 receptions and 121 yards. Very good game. You held the Packers to only 23 points. Aaron Rodgers pulled off his magic BS at the end and led them to victory over you. If I want to pick a win at this one, I really don't know who to go with. Do I want to go with the Vikings or do I want to go with the Lions? Honestly, I put way too much on the Lions. I still have faith in them, and I think they're going to pull off a victory. So I'm going to say Lions win this game. And now we need to continue on with this video. But anyways, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cincinnati Bengals. Jaguars came off a 13-6 loss against my boys in the New Orleans Saints. And the Bengals came off a 23-17 loss against the Ravens. So starting off, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the legend of Gardner Minshew II is dead. Leonard Fournette only was able to muster about 72 rushing yards. The Saints defense, their front seven played very well. You kept Gardner Minshew to about 163 yards. You picked him off once. And, your defense played very well, held them to just 2 field goals. And that's all that they could muster. And that was a very good performance by the Saints. The Jaguars didn't do so well. I mean, the Saints, I told you guys, it only takes a few games until the Saints defense really clicks. And then you move on to the Bengals, oh my God, you guys want this season to be over at this point. I kind of want it to be over because Andy Dalton, threw for 235 yards and a pick. You guys got completely stuffed on offense. And the Ravens defense isn't even that good anymore. They lost a ton of big pieces, and that's it. Lamar Jackson, you let him run for over 152 yards on you guys. Joe Mixon still cannot get anything going. He is maybe the most frustrating player I have in fantasy. I always keep thinking he's going to do something. He doesn't. He's just a huge sleeper. Your offense did what it did, didn't do too much. Your rushing game was limited due to that weak O-line. Want to pick a winner for this one? Gardner Minshew is going to make a comeback. Jaguars win this game. And now we are moving on to the Arizona Cardinals versus the New York Giants. The Cardinals came off a 34-33 victory over the Atlanta Falcons, and then the Giants came off a 35-14 loss against the New England Patriots. So starting off, the Cardinals, you guys played a very good game against the Falcons, not on defense, but on offense. Kyler Murray, 27 for 37, 340 yards, and 3 touchdowns. David Johnson, he only had 34 yards on the ground, but he did have 68 reception yards. He had 2 total touchdowns. Kyler Murray was literally a god. Fitzgerald mustered 6 receptions for 69 yards, the most receptions in the game. You guys played a very good game, on offense at least. Kyler Murray, your offense might have just clicked right now. But anyways, the Giants, Daniel Jones went full derp. 161 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 picks. The rushing game, without Saquon, they're nothing. Your offense, you're receiving Golden Tate, first game off suspension, 6 receptions, 102 yards, and a touchdown. When he's a top receiver, he's very good. Last year I had Golden Tate on my fantasy team, and I also had Alshon Jeffrey. So I had him, Alshon Jeffrey, and Devontae Adams. So I was always playing Devontae and Golden Tate. It was very easy switching between them. And then all of a sudden, Golden Tate got traded to the Eagles. That just ruined my season because I had to basically play pick your poison. They would just get equal receptions, but of course, Alshon stuck. Anyways, I'm getting way too off topic, You guys play the Patriots. They've had no competition. You picked off Brady, but that's about it. If I want to pick a runner for this one, both these defenses suck ass. But the Cardinals, to me, will pull off the victory. Now you move on to our very next matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. And here is where my announcement comes. I am going to see Miami Dolphins versus Buffalo Bills down in Buffalo, which I am super pumped for. So the reason behind it was my friend Ryan. About a month ago, it was his 16th birthday, and his big present was he got Bills tickets. Now, he was originally going to go with the people he set out to go with. Unfortunately, one of the people couldn't make it, and of course, I was the first person that asked. So I'm super excited, but I'm going down, but I have to do two things. I'll be wearing Bills gear, and I also had to promise my mom that I cannot break any tables. Because that's what Bills fans do when they tailgate before a game. They light tables on fire, like fold up tables, then they go on their cars or their trucks, and then they jump off and break them. Bills fans are crazy, but I am still super excited, and I will be vlogging it, so there will be a new video about that, so make sure to go check it out when it's up. But anyways, to the matchups, this is no competition. Dolphins, they lost 17-16, and look, you guys nearly pulled off your first victory of the season, but of course, what happened was, on the 2-point conversion, Fitzpatrick basically throws a screen to Kenyon Drake, and he drops the pass. What a way to end the game. There's really nothing else I can say, except that the Dolphins literally suck. Rosen played very bad, so of course, you think they'd be tanking, but then they pull in Fitzpatrick. So of course, I'm not even sure if you guys are trying to tank anymore, but I think you're going to tank for Tua. Anyways, in the Bills, they were on their bye last week. Their last win was against the Titans. The main reason they won was because the kicker for the Titans, Kyrie Santos, missed 4 field goals, which led to their demise. So there's really not much I wanted to talk about this. I mean, Josh Allen had himself an okay game. The Bills will be getting Devin Singletary back, so honestly, I think he could possibly explode if they just stop with Frank Gore. But anyways, Bills are favored by 17 to win, and of course, they're going to win. Bills are my winner in this match. Now you're moving on to our very next match between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Tennessee Titans. The Chargers came off a 24-17 loss against the Steelers. And then, of course, you had the Titans who came off a 16-0 loss against the Broncos. So starting off with the Chargers, what happened? You guys are 2-4. You guys lost to Delvin Hodges. Phillip Rivers, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. The rushing game was incredibly limited, only to 32 yards. Austin Eckler's not seeing as much playing time, mainly because Melvin Gordon is back, but neither guys did anything. Hunter Henry's back, which was a big addition. 8 receptions, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Your defense got picked apart. And, of course, Devin Bush just smothered you guys. And then the Titans, Marcus Mariota, 7 for 18, no pick, no touchdowns, and 2 picks. So, of course, you put in Ryan Tannehill, who threw for 144 yards and a pick. Derrick Henry was only limited to 28 yards on the ground. You guys got smothered by the Broncos, who are making a bit of a resurge. I mean, their defense is as good as it was, but their offense just sucks, and you guys fell to them. Not impressive in even the slightest way, but the Chargers will win this game, easily. So now we are moving on to the Seattle Seahawks and the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens came off a 23-17 victory over the Bengals, and the Seahawks came off a 32-28 victory over the Browns. So starting off with the Ravens, not that impressive of a win. You're facing the Bengals. That's not impressive. Lamar Jackson threw for 236 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, but he also had 19 rushes, 152 yards, and a touchdown. And that's pretty much it. Mark Andrews is his main weapon, 6 receptions, 99 yards. Like, honestly, Lamar Jackson just lit up that Bengals defense, which is one of the worst in the league. You kept their rushing game intact. And I'm also very excited for this game because it is the return of Earl Thomas to the Seahawks. Now, my last memory with him, of course, was when he got carted off the field in Week 4 against the Cardinals. He looks over the Seahawks bench and flips them off. I'm not going to flip you guys off. I'm not going to do that, but he flips them off, and I want to see what kind of response he gets. It's probably not going to be good. Well, I'm no idiot, and that's not going to be a good response. But anyways, then you have the Seahawks made a very good comeback against the Browns. I think they were down 20-6, and then they rallied back to win 32-28. Russell Wilson, man, it's just electric. 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, followed it up with about 31 rushing yards. Chris Carson, 124 yards and a touchdown. Anyways, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, they were all right in receiving. I mean, the guy that got the receiving touchdowns was Jerron Brown. I mean, this overhyped Brown squad, you finally suffocated. I mean, you picked off Baker Mayfield 3 times. Not much of an accomplishment. Like, Baker Mayfield, his decision-making, his swagger has really gotten to him, and he's been terrible this season. Want to pick a winner of this one? Seattle Seahawks. And now you have our final 425 matchup between the Mob Boys and the New Orleans Saints and the Chicago Bears. The Saints last week came off a 13-6 victory over the Jaguars, and the Bears were on their bye, and the last match they faced, they lost the Raiders 24-21. I hate doing this. My hands are freezing in here. But anyways, moving on to the Saints. I think this is going to be Teddy Bridgewater's toughest challenge. He's already faced the Seahawks, the Jaguars. He's already faced off in defenses like the Jaguars, the Cowboys. He's played very well, and this is maybe the toughest defense he will face. But anyways, Bridgewater threw last week 240 yards and a touchdown. Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray only were held to 75 rushing yards. Kamara's been a little bit less of a workhorse. Michael Thomas, 8 receptions, 89 yards. Jared Cook had 37 yards and a touchdown. I mean, you guys did a good job at stuffing the Jaguars. I mean, your defense, like I said, it only takes a couple games until your defense clicks and gets it together and becomes one of the better defensive units. And then you have the Bears, the biggest question is, will Trubisky play this week or will it be Chase Daniel? Because going back to the match you played against the Raiders 2 weeks ago, rushing game, nothing. Chase Daniel, 231 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. I mean, you guys were down 17-0, scored 21 unanswered points, and you're on the cusp of victory, and then you allowed the first 45 this season. 45 points, which is a pool that my dad runs. But anyways, I don't know what the Bears are going to do. Like, their offense, I can't get a click, I can't get a grasp on. I mean, Chase Daniel can actually run it better than Trubisky. But will Trubisky return? It doesn't matter because the Saints will win this game. Who dat nation? And now you have our Sunday night football matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. This is exciting. Cowboys versus Eagles is always a classic rivalry matchup. These two teams are at each other's throats in terms of their fan base. And of course, this game appropriately is on Sunday night and is being played in Jerry World, which is home of the Dallas Cowboys in Arlington, Texas. AT&T Stadium. They don't even play in Dallas. They play in Arlington. Anyways, both these teams got exposed last week. Starting off with the Eagles, who lost 38-20. How'd you guys get exposed? Secondary. Look at this. Kirk Cousins, 333 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. You guys let him do that. Stephon Diggs, 167 reception yards and 3 touchdowns. Your secondary is absolute trash. And it's not like the Saints. You guys just haven't clicked in the past 2 years. Carson Wentz threw for 306 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. The rushing game was very, very limited. The receiving games, Miles Sanders and Alshon Jeffrey combined for about 150 reception yards. Very good. It was good, but it just wasn't enough against the Vikings. And then the Cowboys, you guys lost to the Jets 24-22. Are you serious? You just let a team, you just got beaten by a quarterback that had cooties. There's no such thing as cooties, but that's basically a friendly way I could describe mononucleosis that Sam Darnold had. Sam Darnold, mononucleosis, comes back, 338 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Le'Veon, got 50 rushing yards. Robbie Anderson, this isn't even about the Jets. You guys got exposed by them. Dak Prescott threw for 278 yards. Ezekiel Elliott ran for 105 yards. You guys just didn't click until the second half or the third quarter. And then you had a chance to tie the game, and of course, Dak Prescott made a terrible throw, and you guys lost to the Jets. You handed them their first win of the season. Who's winning this game? The Eagles. The Eagles will come and play spoiler in Jerry World. Now you move on to our final matchup between the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. No challenge. I might not even do one for this. It's going to be the Patriots. Even though Sam Darnold's back after dealing with mononucleosis, it's the Patriots. You guys are like nothing to them. Tom Brady, literally, they've not had to face any kind of competition this year. Their closest match was against the Bills, and they barely ran away with a victory. This team has not convinced me that they are good. I mean, they're a good team, but last week, the Giants kept it close for 3 quarters, and then you guys just exploded. Tom Brady, 334 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. Your rushing game, was all Sony Michel. Julian Edelman was just the GOAT, getting 113 receiving yards. And then you have the other New York team in the Jets. You guys beat the Cowboys, which is very impressive. But the Cowboys, they don't play good teams, and you guys exposed them. Thank you, but I don't think you guys are going to expose the Patriots. I mean, looking at the Patriots schedule, I mean, their next match is against the Browns after this, who have done nothing, and then you got the Ravens, which have some kind of competition. Like, I'm just going to tell you who the Patriots are facing from now on this season, just to get, like, a semblance of competition. So then they face the Eagles. Moving on, they face the Cowboys. That should be fun. Anyways, moving on, then they face the Texans. Then they play the Bengals. Nothing too good. Then they close out their season against the Bills, and then they play against the Jets. Wait, no, then they play against the Dolphins one last time. Honestly, the Patriots could easily laugh their way to 16-0 again. But once they face a decent team in the playoffs... Oh, I also forgot that the Patriots eventually will be playing the Chiefs, which should be a fun matchup. Not gonna lie. But anyways, they don't face any competition. It's just shocking to me that this team, they could go 16-0, but once they get in the playoffs, they're going to get exposed. But for this week, the Patriots will win. That's my video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really want to wrap this up quickly because my hands are freezing in here. I'm actually freezing. But anyways, thank you guys all so much for watching. If you want to see the rest of my prediction videos, link will be in the description below. If you want to watch my new vlog that's coming up, well, if you're watching this before Monday, October... Oof, I gotta remember the date. Probably I'd say Monday, October 21st. If you're watching it before then, link will be in at least on the 21st. So check it out when it comes out. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, comment down below what else you want to see. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat at StudentSavage. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Have a great day. Who Dat Nation is out. Pow.